Should have me now. There we go. I forgot my mic again. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee Room with John from Pro Craps on Casino Gaming TV. Hopefully we'll get through our show today. I have the flu, as you know. It's really it's all here, right? Like my nose is fine. It's all in my chest. I can't take a full breath and I can't really breathe out very good. My head's heavy, but I just I can't sit on my ass on the couch all day long and do nothing either. So I thought I'd come down here and let's try a show today. Huh? What do you think? Hope you all are doing well. Let's see who's here. Tito's yeah, Mike. Aha, there's the mic. Good morning, Gary, and good morning, Tito. All right, so let's get into the show here and remind you of our stuff, right? And there's this is more true now than ever, right? Hey Louie, how you doing? Last night G and Jeff did their show. I'm doing a thing today on some dice control stuff. There's lots of channels out there. There are new channels. There's a couple of people doing some dangerous stuff out there too, by the way. And you know how I feel about some other channels. I'll leave them nameless. Reminder as you watch everybody. And this is, I think, if my legacy is this screen, then my legacy is this screen. Remind yourselves as you're watching YouTube videos, whether it's about pure math, pure luck, pure folly, whatever it is. This is the filter, right? Have a goal when you go to the casino, right? Being fun as your goal, great. Make a certain percentage, great. Make a certain dollar amount, great. But have a goal, right? Make it your North Star. Have the right bankroll to let you either achieve your goal, right, that you need to get there, or they can handle the loss you're willing to assume. That's an important piece of it, right? Matching your goal and your bankroll is important. Understanding your appetite for risk. Don't play strategies or games that are super high risk if you're a very conservative person. You're going to have a bad time. Even if you win, you have a bad time doing it, right? It's all, there's so much, this emotional component to this whole thing that I can't stress the importance of that enough. Matching all this stuff together is so important, right? Identifying opportunity to lean in to a hot hand or a streak or whatever it is, or opportunity to take your stuff and go, right? Play the way you want to play. Have a good strategy, right? Play at the right place. Play the right game for you. Craps may not be the game for you. Follow me? Understand your emotions and have a good mindset. Have a brain that is connected to all of it, and the discipline to kind of tie it all together. So hopefully, when you watch our shows, filter everything you hear through all this, like the strainer. Let's call this the strainer. And at the end of it, you should have a nugget. And Mike is scratchy because why? Oh, you know what? I bet you it's this. I bet you it's not. Let's try that. I think it's hitting against my shirt. Let me try that. Put it back in again. Let's try that. Dice Daddy. You just watch Jimmy's. I'm going to talk about him in a minute. Again, and this screen is not about Jimmy, but he's a person that you need to watch through a lens like this. Okay, and I'll tell you why I think that. He calls the headless horseman the H&H because he doesn't pay attention, right? And I think somebody once said that there's no such thing as a new strategy. Every strategy has been created before. He's running something now. I forget what it's even called. I don't want to lie and give it a name. He's calling it something. I should look it up so I don't make a mistake here. But he's calling his new strategy. It's 4-0, blah, blah, blah. It's the Butterberg. Remember the Butterberg from our friend? That you put the place bets up, you hit a place bet, take it down, hit a place bet, take it down. It's the Butterberg. That's his new greatest of all time strategy, right? Nothing has already not been done. There's nothing that's new or creative out there. It's a matter of how you play it. I think that where Jimmy tries to separate himself is how he plays these things, not so much the strategy. Although he's trying to give himself credit for creating stuff, it's not, right? Just be careful. When you watch stuff, be careful what you hear, right? Some guys claim to know math and don't have a effing clue about it. Some guys like me claim to know math and know a little bit about it, enough to be dangerous, right? I'm not a statistician. I'm not a mathematician. I've talked to and I have friends that are in that world that have taught me enough that I think I can present it to you in an okay way that's kind of understandable. A lot of that stuff is really, really complex, right? So I try to distill it down to where all of us can understand it at like a 6th grade level and be able to kind of get through it all, right? Try to make sense of the super complex stuff. But some guys claim expertise in things that there's not. You got to be careful who you listen to. And when you listen to them, maybe enjoy their presentation, enjoy the fun that they're having, but don't, take it all with a grain of salt is what I'm saying. All right. Here we go. Speaking of taking things with a grain of salt, let's talk about what happened last night. Let's talk about the chopper. Now, Gargoyle and Mac did a great show last night on the chopper. I've got some thoughts on it. Of course, I'm going to have thoughts on it, right? The interesting thing, though, is that the day before, now, and again, I don't want to get into the war of words here so much, but, Gargoyle let go some of the history last night. He learned the chopper from VDC. I didn't, but I had thrown with VDC, and I went to VDC's house, and he taught me the right way to throw what I was throwing, which was the flea flicker. I didn't know it at the time. I was calling it the chopper because I learned it from watching Cage's channel, Cashier's Cage. Again, trying to slow down videos and watch what the guy's doing. That's how I learned that throw. Nobody taught me it because there's no teacher of it. And Cage doesn't really teach it. He just throws it and talks about it. Really, he never gives you any details. So I learned it by watching. I went to VDC's house and he adjusted me for what I was doing, which was the flea flicker. He didn't give it a name, right? He did give me a sheet of paper that describes what he called the helicopter toss. I can show it to you. It's the VDC helicopter toss, which is exactly what Gargoyle showed last night. VDC said, look, you're not throwing that toss. You're throwing a different way. Let's adjust how you throw what you're doing. And I was throwing it from stick left one, and he was showing me the right ways. And so that's my introduction to this whole thing, right? Cage put a video out day before yesterday, with his version of the history of the chopper toss, which was, there's an old helicopter toss that was a cheater, flinger throw kind of thing. Why put that video out? Let Gargoyle do his thing. Gargoyle taught him the toss, right? Let Gargoyle present the proper history, and this whole clash is freaking stupid. At the end of the day, I'm going to trust the people that A, invented the thing, and V, perfected the thing, right? I look at the chopper, what I know now to be the actual chopper toss, which is the dice being stacked, and when they fly like this, right? Gargoyle showed this last night, right? The dice start out stacked, right? When they leave your hand, they separate like the blades of a chopper, the big blade and the small blade in the back, and they fly like this in the air, right? That's the chopper toss. The flea flicker toss is different, right? The chopper, right? Choppers take off, and they land like this, right? The flea flicker is they're low and they're fast, and they bounce like fleas, right? That's the difference of the two tosses. Naming things is correct, or naming things is important. Getting the words right is important. Knowing what you're doing is important. I think that also knowing the purposes behind the throws are important, and when you use each one of them, right? I can't throw anyway, the chopper toss, the real chopper toss from stick left one. It's harder to throw it backhanded. Backhanded, your tendency is going to be to want to flick your fingers and spin them quick. That's the flea flicker. That's what Nemo throws. I threw that one for a couple years. From the stick right side, when you're throwing backhanded, basically, you're throwing like forehanded, basically, the chopper toss is a more natural toss. They fly a little higher, a little slower. The landing spot's different, right? I think it's pretty cool to know both. From the right side, from the left side, on a hard table and a bouncy table, right? I can make the throw comfortable for myself. And again, I've got the shoulder problem. I can make it comfortable for myself from either side. I can adjust so the dice don't go crazy on every table surface. If it's hard, if it's soft, if it's long, if it's short, whatever it is, I can make the dice pretty much die, right? By using different heights and speeds and whatever from wherever I am. Having both is important. It's not one versus the other. It's not this guy versus that guy or this throw versus that throw. It's having an arsenal of things in your pocket that you can say, look, on this table, I would like to throw it this way so that I can stop them. Remember this, all these throws, whether it's the chopper, if it's the flea flicker, if it's the original helicopter, if it's the par toss, if it's whatever throw, if it's Gargoyle's new throw, whatever it is, the purpose of them is to find a way to put the brakes on the dice. Ultimately, what happens that kills you is scatter, right? You want less scatter at the end. That's the whole thing, right? All the DI, all the stuff boils down to picking a good starting set that tends to work, reducing scatter at the end. That's it. If you can reduce your scatter, you're going to be probably pretty much okay. The chopper toss, in my view, from a physics standpoint, has the best chance, if you're throwing it well, to put the brakes on the dice and stop the scatter. That's it. I think it stops them very well. I think it controls the collision of the wall very well. It's comfortable to throw. That's it. That's it. I'm trying to stop scatter. Most people probably are saying the same thing or doing the same thing without realizing it, right? Find the one that works for you to stop the scatter. That's it. Put the brakes on it. So anyway, good show last night. Good breakdown by G. I'm glad to see it. And he took the questions great last night. It was awesome. And again, I'll keep talking about it. I'll do both throws with you here too. I've been doing both throws for a long time. And again, to me, it's all about tools in your belt to stop the dice. Finding ways to stop the dice from flying around like maniacs. That's all you're trying to do. Whatever happens after the back wall, as long as you've made them hit it nice and slow, you got a soldier's chance of fighting on, right? That's what we kind of want. So, all right, let's see. I'm looking at chat there to see what else is out there. All right. Today's Daily Dose of DI, by the way, we're going to do a longer one. I've done with you the how-to, right? Gargoyle did a chopper how-to. I've done many chopper how-tos on how I throw it. We've seen my slow motion. If you haven't watched it yet, last Friday's Follies was a slow motion breakdown. I did 40 minutes of slow motion video? And I've shown you, by the way, that most of my throws are bullshit. Most of my throws suck. They dice kiss. They hit the wall too hard, right? I'm still trying to figure out that putting the brakes on thing. But you've also seen in the slow motion that there is this percentage of shots that are great, where the dice do what they're supposed to do, right? Where they hit and they skip and they keep spinning and they hit the back wall and they keep spinning and the top or the bottom dice stays up. We've seen that, right? We know that it's possible. The question is, and I've asked these questions before, is it possible to do, right? Remember my DI questions? One, is it possible, right? Yeah, it's possible. The chopper, the slow-mo shows it's possible to do this, right? The second question is, can a human do it? Can a human do it? Can I actually get it done? The answer to that question is sometimes. Not enough. I can do it sometimes, like maybe 10% of the time, get a perfect throw off. But I know I can do it, which I say to myself, if I practice, I can do it more often. That's the third question, though, is what do you do with it, right? Can it be done? Can I do it? What can I do with it when it happens, right? Today we're going to look at that. We're going to look at some of the highlights. I did a book. They call it a book. I did 720 throws with the chopper, with the ones stacked, with this dice set. The ones on top dice set. It is the hard way set. I did 720 throws with that, and I had Ed Robinson break them down with me. Now I'm going to put a video out where I show the full break. It's a 2-hour video of him going through all the numbers with me, right? It's a long video. I'm still cutting it down. I might even do it today. I couldn't yesterday. I couldn't even think yesterday. Maybe today I'll do it. But I'm going to show you today some of the highlights of it. I'm going to show you some of the findings from that. Today's like the TLDR. Like, here's what happened with me and Ed. Watch the full video to understand how he broke this down for me so I understand what I saw. The numbers here are very interesting. When you see what Bone Tracker found about my throw, you're going to find it very interesting. And some of it, predictably so, the magnitude of it I was not ready for. Let's put it that way, okay? I know, and you know from me talking about it, right? I do the thing where, if I stack the ones and sixes, where I stack the ones, I see lots of ones and lots of sixes, okay? Should see a lot of horn numbers, right? We expect that kind of thing because of the set. At least when I'm talking smack, that's what I expect to see. Let's dive in. Let's look at some of the numbers and see what we actually saw with the sets. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, before I do that, the quick reminder of schedule here, right? Casino Quest Bridge next weekend, February 22nd, followed again in March. Atlantic City Group is meeting the 18th of February. The Casino Tiers Group is meeting in Vegas March 7th to 9th. I'll be on a cruise that week, so I can't go, unfortunately. Big AZ is in Vegas the week of the 23rd. And then, of course, the Brownwater Bash in May. So that's going to be the upcoming schedule. Now, let's get into the Bone Tracker review that I did with Ed Robinson. And again, this is not going to be Ed talking. This is going to be me sharing you the end result of what we talked about. You got to watch the video because Ed really breaks down what these things mean. I'm going to try and do my best here to present it to you. All right, first things first. I threw 729 throws. Now, you may have to zoom in to some of these screens to really see it, okay? They get smaller as they go. But here's what I did. I did 729 throws. My SRR was 708. Should have been 6, right? The average is 6. I was at a 7, okay? Now, let's call this out right away. 720 throws, which is what you should do for Bone Tracker, is a small amount, right? The math folks, the statisticians will tell you, you got to be at 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, right? The closer you get to 10, 100,000, things start to coalesce and become the pyramid, right? I have an issue with that. I agree. The more you get, if I can show this kind of growth, if I can show an SRR of 7 over 10,000 throws, that's really saying something, right? The closer you get to millions and billions, the closer you get to random. The outliers become outliers, and they don't count as much in the bigger data sets. 720 throws is not a lot. However, if you think about your time at a casino, right? If the dice come to you in one session around the table 3 times, that's a lot to get around the table 3 times, right? You might get 30 to 50 throws in an evening, right? Might get in one session, okay? Okay, that's 14 sessions worth of dice throwing. That might be, over a weekend. That's a Friday night, a Saturday night, a Sunday night, 3 trips, 3 months in a row. You're talking about 3 months of dice throwing here, right? If you think about it that way, right? If I get 50 throws a night and I'm there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's 150, okay? On this weekend, and then next month, and next month right? Think about that. This is quite a bit of time at a casino. It's not a lot of time statistically speaking, or not number, but it's a lot of casino time. So we got to remember that, right? Like, these numbers may seem to a statistician silly and small. The reality is, this is where we live. This is the world we live in, is these small. Anyway, my SR is 708, which is great. That's a whole number past what we should be. My box number to sevens ratio. This is the number of box numbers you're throwing on average between sevens, which means when the puck is on, how many box numbers are you seeing? How much, right? I should see 4. I'm seeing 4.5. Not a significant movement, but it's movement, okay? And then here we get to see the on-axis results, right? Both dice on axis should be 44. I'm at 45. Not a huge move. It's almost nothing. It's a nothing burger, right? You look at some of the other numbers, the 1 die on, 1 die off, right? I'm at 41 instead of 44. That's getting to significance to me. 3% is not a small number. So 1 die on, 1 die off, which means in a hard way set, let's do the hard way set. Let's do like this here, the hard ways. If 1 dies on and 1 dies off axis, right? 1 dies off, there's no sevens there. That's actually pretty good. That's actually more often than it should be. I'm not seeing a 7 with that set. That's actually pretty cool. And both die off axis are 13%. So again, not a lot of movement there. Interesting. We're within tolerance of all those numbers. Really, it's the SRR that was the big outlier on this one here, I thought. The hard way numbers was interesting. Look at this. My hard ways results, with the exception of the hard 8, every hard way with that stacked 1 set. Hard 4, 3.4. Hard 6, 4.8, almost twice as many as expected, right? Hard 10, 3.57. Look at the aces and boxcars, 4.9 and 4.5. Both of those just about twice over expected. Isn't that interesting? A lot of hard ways coming out of the hard way set. Imagine that, right? It's kind of funny how things work out the way they're supposed to sometimes, right? I thought that was very interesting, except for the 8s, which is weird. This one here shows, I think, how many of each combination we saw. This is one way of looking at percentages of combinations, and the delta, right? The delta of the 2s and the 3s. 2s were 2% over. The 12s were 1.75% over. The 9s were minus 3%. The 5s were minus 0.1%. The 6s were super high. I threw a lot of 6s in this set for some reason. But this gives you kind of a look at like where the numbers went to. This is like the pie chart, or the angle chart you would see, but with numbers. Okay. The chi-squared test, and we don't know if it's chi or chi or whatever. I've heard it said all different ways. Is a 0, which is interesting, right? Random is over 0.16. Possible influence is less than 0.15. Influence is less than 0.05. I'm at a 0. Okay, which is you'll see why in a minute, right? So there is influence being imparted on the dice. In this set of 720, whatever I was doing resulted in a 0 on this test, which is a good score, right? That's actually pretty stout right there. If I could keep that forever, we'd be in business. This chart here shows us the rolls between sevens. Interesting sets in here, right? Number one is there is the first one. Ed pointed this out to me. There's 17 zeros, which means 17 times there were no rolls between sevens, which means they repeated, right? 17 times I had 7 7, right? Some of that is 7 7 7, 7 7 7 7. I had 1 or 2 that were 5 in a row, right? That's what that number is. Okay, interesting number. Then you got the 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. They're all the same, right? They're all the same. We had 12 instances where I had one roll between sevens, which is 7 PSOs, right? 7 number 7. I had 12 times where I was 7 number 7. 12 times where it was 7 number 7. Okay, those are too high. They're just too high. I'm poking out of the expected graph there. Those should all be below. The red is where you're supposed to be. I want them all below the red. I want to have more time or less times where I have 0, 1, or 2 or 3 rolls between sevens. I want to have the 7 be held back more early. When I was doing my tosses, I really felt like I was bitching the whole time. You probably heard my shows. Like it's feast or famine for me. I felt like I was doing so many PSOs or one-hit wonders, right? Or it was the 30 roller. If it was like, crap, bomb. Crap, bomb. This chart kind of shows that. Look at that, 24, 36 rolls, or no, 48 rolls. 48 of the outcomes were 4 rolls or less. Way too many short rolls. But at the end, look at the number of rolls that were over 20, right? That end thing is so high. I should have had like 1 roll over 20, right? I had like what, 5 or 6 over 20s? So again, felt like feast or famine, and it was. This chart kind of proves what I was feeling. Like it's shitty or it's great. There wasn't a good smoothness to this at all. And again, I think when I talk about variance, the expected would be the red. You can see that there's variance in here, right? There's variance in here where in that 720, I was up and down. I wasn't even. If this was 7,200, I'll bet you those blue lines would all line up with that red line perfectly, right? So the short series matter. The variance that you're creating with your dice matters because you're at the casino with money on the table during this time. So that I thought was also an interesting thing to see. This one is the one that really got my eyes opened up. This is the chart that shows you the percent difference from probable distribution. Okay, so the line that's 0 is where you should be. Okay, take a look at this. Now again, I always say I throw lots of horn numbers, right? Look at this. The 2s and the 12s spiked way up over expected. Okay, the 6s, an inordinate amount of 6s, right? That's really cool. But look at the below, right? Obviously the 7s are below where they should be, right? The 5s, the 8s, and then there's almost no 9s. Like my 9s were so far below. When Ed says things like, know what you expect to throw, he was telling me in the video. This is one of his favorite little charts here, is this one here. This one here really shows you what you expect to see. And he's like, when you throw enough books with the same sets, he said, what you want to do is confirm like another 720 with the ones on top. This chart should look about the same every time. If you're consistent with your throw and the same set, this chart should always look the same with that dice set for you. And if that's the case, you should know when I'm going to the house with the stacked 1 set, I expect no 9s, I expect lots of 6s, and I expect lots of 2s and 12s. He said, get your ass to a crapless table. Right? That's what this thing says. So, very interesting. I'm going to do another book with the same set at some point here, and I expect to see this thing play out the same way. I should see it play out the same way, and if I do, that is a confirmation or the first step towards confirmation of maybe what I'm doing is actually the same every time, right? I want to see that, right? But that was, I thought, super interesting. Now, the next one I think is this one here. I'm going to switch screens and go to the full screen view. I want you to see the next two pictures are big. I gotta load them up. So give me a second. I'm gonna go here, and we're gonna go to this. I'm gonna bring up the groups thing first. The groups are this. So what Bone Tracker does, it brings you all the way down to this, right? It brings you down to this thing called groupings, and you can find in here different groups. Like these are labeled like the flying V and all the different dice sets. There's these P1 through whatever, right? These, if you look down, these are like dice sets and chord, like root dice sets. At the bottom, it'll give you numbers. If you follow this along, it's kind of hard to follow along here, but this SRR number here, right on the left-hand side, this bottom row shows you the potential SRR. Now, my SRR was 706, right? This shows you if I had used this dice set instead. Let's take this. If I would have used a 3-3-2 or 3-2-3-5 dice set instead of the ones, my SRR would have been a 4-5-8, right? This is where you get into the what if. What if I had done this dice set the whole time? Well, look at that. The SRR would have been way different, 4-5-8. Over here, if I'd used this 3-2-2-1 set, my results would have been a 7.92, almost a full point higher. So Ed's like, look, this is telling you the what if. What if your 720 had a different dice set? Like, the answer to the question, do dice sets matter? The answer to that question is yes, if you're consistent and if it's the same person. Two people throwing my same dice set would not have the same results on this screen here. Two people with my dice set would be different. Me with my dice set, I ended up here on this page going, wow, look at this. This P7 thing says, shit, if I'd have been in this dice set or this dice family set, I've been a whole point higher. Same set of rolls, just with a different starting dice set. This is fascinating stuff, right? I mean, this is one of those things that I think is I didn't really understand until I saw this chart. What does a dice set really do with those 720, right? It's actually super interesting. It does take you off of the randomness thing, right? Like where you expect the dice set doesn't matter, no matter what dice set I would have chosen. Every single column here would have been the same or close within, 0.5 of being the same. They should all have been pretty random. In fact, they're not. Changing dice sets goes from an SRR of 706, which was what I shot, down to a 4. The one next to it, like a 5.88, 4.58. It's crazy how these things vary just by changing the top dice, the top numbers on the dice. It's unbelievable, right? Again, short data set. But that's where we're throwing in short data sets. So that's important. All right, that's that one. The next one is this one, which is so I'm gonna actually zoom in. So if we go here, so that group 7 was the one that had the biggest one, the 792. Let's look at group 7. So I go to group 7. It's a lot. I'm not gonna go through the whole thing. Again, Ed goes through the whole thing with me here. Group 7, all these dice sets across the top. 1, 2, 2, 4. These are all dice sets across the top row. All of them have the same SRR. They're all 792s. Some math guy figured this crap out. I don't know how it works. They're all the same. So there's no loss or gain of 7s with these different combinations of starting dice sets. However, with these dice sets in that same family, you can change the BSR. The BSR here you'll see goes from like 524 to 4 something, right? There's one down here where it's 5.8, 5.80. Here's one that's 5.85 down the end. 5.85. It's right over here. You can see it on the end here. 585. That's the one. There's also one 585 over here. So this 2335 or whatever, and the 533. These are the two dice sets in the same family, same SRR. The BSR goes from what I threw, which is a 4.5, up to 5.8. A whole extra box number on average per toss or per hand. A whole extra box number. So what we're saying is not only should I be in this group of dice families, but this one in particular, if I'd have thrown that dice set the whole time, my SRR would have been 7.9, my BSR would have been 5.8. Okay, now, there's all these ones that are kind of the same in here. These are telling you how many more 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, whatever you would have thrown. There's a few things to choose from in here. Again, Ed will go over this with us in great detail in the full episode. You got to watch him break that down for me. But at the end of the day, what we learn is with Bone Tracker, what it's telling you is if you're consistent, this dice family of 16 or whatever it is combinations, in that family, there's one or two that are optimal. Same SRR, different BSRs, different thickness of the thing. Now what's next? Right? So what's next for me to do is go back and do another couple of books, right? Another couple 720s. And the 720s that I'm going to do are this. I want to do one set of 720 with the ones again, right? To confirm this. I want to confirm this chart here, and I want to confirm all these numbers. I should see about the same, right? Again, it's not about the numbers. It's about the consistency. So whether it's the stacked ones or stacked whatever, I should see this the next time I do it, right? What I should also see is if I would have thrown the other dice set, that 5331 dice set, that these numbers should change. The change of dice set should change this, right? This should be way more in line with influence. Right here, I'm showing no influence other than the massively number of long rolls. Everything else is off where I want to be, right? So the other dice set should be better. I should be able to confirm this and then confirm Bone Tracker's prediction if I change set and do another book. So I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to do another book of the ones, another book of the new set to confirm this stuff. Ed will do a quick review with me. I'm not going to do another 2 hours with him again because it's a lot for him. You know what I mean? It's like I'm asking a lot for him to spend 2 hours with me going over numbers, you know. But I'll give it to him as a summary and say, confirm, am I seeing what I think I'm seeing here? And that's it. That's the Bone Tracker stuff, right? Again, I don't know Bone Tracker very well. Duracell, I know, is in chat, does know it very well. He says it'll teach you more about a lot of things, and it'll confirm consistency. I just want to see. Like now I'm to the point where I think my mechanics are getting there. I wouldn't call them great, but they're good enough to have moved the needle a tiny bit. Really what I want to see is, am I always moving the needle a tiny bit? That's what I want to know, right? So that's the journey. We talk about where are you at? Ed asked me on our call. He said, where are you on your journey? And I said, I don't know. Because he's like, I know you don't always believe in dice control or whatever, right? I'm like, well, I said, here's what I believe. And I've said this to you before. I believe physically it's possible. I know there are some people who believe that physics will say it's impossible, right? I know, like, Dr. Don't Pass and PJ Strong and JB. A lot of guys think that it's a fool's errand, right? Because the back wall randomizes shit. We've seen in the slow motion videos that that's not always the case. We've seen my slow motion videos prove out that I can get one or both dice to keep on the horizontal axis. We know that I can do it. It's physically possible. And I can physically be the one that makes it happen, right? Not consistently. So there's the practice makes perfect part of it, right? If it is consistent, Bone Tracker is going to tell me if I am actually consistent or not. So let's do a couple more books. And again, I'll share it all with you. I will share all of it with you, right? If I prove this to be possible, then hooray for me. If I prove this to be a bunch of bunk, hooray for you or whoever, right? I'm going to try. I said, I'm going into this thing eyes wide open. I'm going into this thing with, I'm going to give it as many hours as I have to make it work. I bought a craps table so I could do this and do the shows. That's what I'm after. I'm after what we can do with it. And I will be, like I said, ripping the Band-Aid off, peeling back the onion layers, whatever you want to call it, all the way through. Eyes wide open. I believe it can be done. I have faith that it can work. We had this conversation a while back. I've seen enough to confirm my beliefs, and now I've got faith that I can get in there, right? Let's see what happens. Let's keep. Again, I'm going to keep on doing it. All right. Now we're going to go play a little bit here in a minute, and then I'm going to do questions and answers first. Then I'm going to roll the dice a little bit. I may not be able to roll very long. When I stand up and start walking around, I get out of breath, so I may not be able to last very long. But let's hit our Q&A really quick and see and see what people in chat are saying. I'm going to do a quick search for Qs and PCs. Remember, if you want to get to me, do a big Q in front of the question, in front of your comment. I'll look at it, or a PC for ProCraps, and I can find you there too. So Let me look at what I see. Waylon says this: the less the dice bounce around, the better. Right? If you got a toss, eliminates that. Stick with it, no matter what technique it is. And I think he's right about this. Right? No matter what technique you use, find a way to put the brakes on. I think ultimately, all this boils down to putting the brakes on the dice. Now, I think the chopper does a good job of putting the brakes on and keeping the spin. I think it does two things. So that's why I kind of like it. Gary, sorry, I'm losing my voice a little. Gary said, over the past year, how many times after you make the paycheck, you go off on a heater? Do you think you're showing DI or getting lucky or a bit? I think it's a bit of both, you know? I think I'm not a believer in the whole energy vibe thing. But what's funny about it is sometimes I hit the paycheck and then I'm like, whew, I don't got to sweat anymore, right? Remember the old draw when I was doing the drawdown, right? It's a lot of money out there, right? Two big giant bets and you're like, oh, I made it, thank God. I can relax, no more sweating. And then you're on a heater. That happened a lot when I was doing the paycheck. Is there something to that? I don't know, man. I don't know if there is. I would like to think there's nothing to that because I don't believe in that weird energy thing, but it does happen. I think you relax and you stop caring. You don't squeeze them and all that kind of. It's great comment, by the way. Thank you for that. James says, here's the question, right? Do I think they'll stay the same using different casinos and tables? No. And this is what I was alluding to earlier in the show, which was this. I can throw the chopper, and I'll show you when I get to the other view here. I can throw this thing in a number of different ways, right? I can throw it high and soft, low and fast. I can land it on the C and come. I can land it at the base of the wall. I can do all the different landing spots pretty consistently. If I find at a certain table, casino, whatever, that to make them not dance around, I have to do this, I can adjust. I can do that now. I can actually, from whatever side, I've got different ways of throwing it that I can make them not dance around so much, right? I can reduce some of the energy. The best I can do is that, right? What the guys who throw the dice well will tell you is with your set and your toss, you should be able to read what they're doing. Like on this table with this throw, with this height, with the speed, I should have saw whatever. I'm seeing this instead. Then you can adjust something, right? I'm not even close to that yet. I'm still trying to get them to land right? Eventually, that's what they say is possible. But yeah, it's definitely, that is the other equalizer, right? Every casino is different. Can you show us what you have in Bone Tracker as my set? I don't have Bone Tracker running. That was Ed's Bone Tracker. I downloaded it again, and it's not working well on I have a Mac, so it doesn't work well on a Mac. So I asked Nate to give me a more up-to-date version of it so I can get it to run. But yeah, when we do the video with Ed, it's a 2-hour video where Ed breaks down this entire thing with Bone Tracker with my set. So I'll get that video cut out. I got to take some of the swearing out of it, and we'll push it up, and you can see that. So that will come, Randy, for sure. Let me go here and see, is there any PCs? Any PCs? PC comments. There are no. Duracell, amazing how many, right? I mean, there's a lot of long rolls in there. It's great. Skills says, no 9, right? The no 9 thing worked. Isn't that pretty funny? Mark the Point says, why do you set the hard 6 or hard 8 stacked? Exactly. If in Bone Tracker, you can change that. I can change what my stack was, right? So you can say in the place where you put in your dice set, I can say instead of the 1s, put the stacked 3s and stacked 3s or stacked 4s. All those 2s and 12s would have been 6s and 8s. Right? It would have been hard 6s and hard 8s. 100%. That's why we say that the set does matter if you're consistent with the throw. If you're consistent. At this point, I don't care what the results are. I don't care that it's 2s, 12s, whatever. What's interesting is that there were so many 2s and 12s. That means my top and bottom faces are kind of playing nice. So if the tops and bottoms were 3s and 4s, it would have been hard 6s and hard 8s, not 2s and 12s. Good point. Way to point that out. Dice Doc Dan says, if it doesn't prove it out for you, does that mean it's not possible for others? I can't speak for others. I can only speak for me. I can only speak for what I'm seeing. And if I'm not seeing the fact that I can confirm, like if I can't confirm what I just saw over the course of a few books, then either my mechanics are getting worse or whatever, or there's nothing to it. I got to make that call myself, right? We got to do a few more books and really see what we're doing, and that's, I think, is an important thing. So I gotta just, like I said, I've worked so long in the mechanics. I did so much tracking before. We did find some weird outliers in the first set of 10,000. In 10,000 rolls, if you remember, we had a 3 or 4% variance on the tops staying up, right? That was the one outlier we saw. And JB confirmed that with me. He's like, yeah, you got this weird thing with the top dice, the tops staying more often than they should. 3% not going to be a moneymaker, but it's an interesting outlier. Interesting was the word used, right? So we'll keep that. Let's see. Skill says, sound like me when you say you believe, like I believe my chance. Yeah. Well, like I said, I've seen enough. I've seen enough slow motion to know that it's possible. Like now I know what the dice are supposed to do, right? I know when they're not doing it, which is most of the time, but I've seen what's there. So anyway, that's all. To me, it's all fascinating stuff. Like the nerd in me, the part of John that says, why do you have a YouTube channel? Why are you doing this all the time? To me, it's interesting. There's enough here to do something to make it interesting. Like it's a pursuit of something. Whether it's fruitless or not doesn't matter to me. It's a pursuit, right? I like the chase. So there's that, right? Yeah. Let's see. I think you're wrong about that. This is where I think you're wrong. I have watched the slow-mo. Watch the slow-mo. I have done it. I've not done it consistently, but I've done it perfectly a number of times. Every time I do slow-mo, there's a few shots in there that act perfectly. They're there. You can't dispute that because I've shown it to you, and you have. If you haven't watched it, then you haven't watched it, but everybody else has. You've seen it. There is perfection in there, even off the back wall, right? The trick is consistently doing it. And I think you brought up the word. 2 words here are, to me, absolutes, right? Nobody wrong, consistently correct, right? We got to get consistent. I think that's what I'm shooting for, is consistency. Maybe I can't ever be consistent. Maybe that's what we find out. Hopefully I can be more consistent. Anyway, let's see. What else is in here that's important to talk about? Great, James. Love underestimated. Oh, I know. They do laugh at this. Some of them do. Some of them are practitioners too, though, right? There's that. Let's see. Yeah, change the dice set after. Ed was telling me use a brand new set of dice for every book. What I should do too. All right, I think that is it. Is that everything? How do we define consistent? Well, Dan, I define consistent like this. If I were to go here, right? Let's go back there. If I did the stacked dice set, another 720 rolls, and I got a chart that looked something like this, not exactly like this, right? But if I'm, throwing more than anything else, the 2s, 3s, 11s, and 12s at the rate that they were thrown here, if I see the end spikes up and I see a number, it could be the 6, it could be the 8, that spikes up in a weird way, that would be a consistent thing. Okay, 2 times in a row, we saw the same thing. 3 times in a row, seeing the same sort of things. Now you're feeling like, okay, there's something to what he's doing or that set. That would be what I would call kinda somewhat consistent. Then I feel like we're putting our foot on the gas, right? Then we're leaning into it. This is the first book ever, right? 720 is not a lot of rolls. It's a lot, but it's not a lot. So it's the first stab at it. Let's take a look at later stabs and see what we do, right? This is a good first discussion. I'm going to keep these screens. I'm going to keep all these numbers. Let's look at the second time I do it, and the third time, and the fourth time I do it, and we'll see what happens. Okay. Nice thing about Bone Tracker is no matter what set I'm throwing, I can go to the front screen and I can change the numbers to the set and get the same result. So whatever set I'm throwing with, I can go to the front page of Bone Tracker and put in a different set, and it would give me the same chart. So we can find out. So, all right, let's go. I'm going to go throw. a little bit. I'm going to go daily paycheck with you here. We're going to ride the horseman a little bit today. It is a hump day, so we're gonna do a little horseman play. I'm going to do again a very aggressive horseman. I'm going to play the horseman today where I'm doing a parlay on the don't pass wins. I'm going to parlay any naturals in the come, and I'm going to go right side on the first come hit. We're going to go after it today. We'll see what happens. If my voice gives out before I'm done, it is what it is. But I'm already feeling kind of horsey. So let's see. Where are we? We are right now at 18-5. Oh, that's wrong. It should be 19-5. 19-5 with a $6,000 win. I didn't put the other day's win in there. So we're 19-5, about 78% or so win rate. Again, doing good. Money management, guys, key to everything. Money management discipline is the key to all of it. So here we go. Let's go ride. Let's go put the daily paycheck screen on and let's play a little bit. Okay, that camera over there is not. What is it doing? Why is it pointing at the wall? Oh, you know why? I twisted it. Let's do this. Let's get you here. Let's get you here. Is that better? Can you see the table now? Oh God, look at that. Look at that mess. I did something to the camera yesterday and now it's like super cockeyed. Wow. That's not great. How do I change that? Can I make it? There we go. Is that better? Weird. Okay, well, is it back there better? That's good enough, I guess. It's not zoomed in right, but oh well. That's for me to worry about. Here we go. We'll do the 2-to-1 horseman. $500 out of the rack. And $200 on the don't. And 1, 2, 3 come bets. And we're going to parlay, one parlay for all the wins. Just single parlay for the wins. Here we go. I'm not sure if you can see my dice set here, but I'm going to do that 5-3-3-1 set, which is the bone tracker recommendation, and let's just get on it. Here we go. Let's catch a point. That puck should be off, by the way. That is a 5. So the puck goes to the 5. That's our point. 4 and a 1. First come bet. Again, getting my set now is going to take me a little longer than usual. 5-3-3-1. And for me, it's a 2-6 stack. 2-6 with a 1-3 on the side. Here we go. That's a 5. Wow. There's consistency, right? Comeback goes to the 5. We lose our don't. So I'm going to come to the don't to the pass line. Again, I'm going to work 3 come bets plus the don't. I picked my don't off. We're going to the pass line now. I should just do it like this. Yeah, I'm not used to this set, so it's taking me a minute. 6-2 is how I should remember it. 6-2. Here we go. Coming out. Yeah, what a nice looking throw. That's a 6, 5-1. All right, last come bet. Last right side bet. Let's go. And again, if I catch a winner, we're going to parlay it up. All right, here we go. Looking for a 5 or a 6. It's a 6, 4-2. That's the point. It wins up here. That comeback travels up. I'm going to parlay the first win. Here we go. Oh, not a good hit. Not a good hit. It's a 5, though. That's okay. 3, 2, 5. That rolled on, it was a 3, 2. 5 hits. That's the new point. That comes down. It gets paid, and it's in the rack. Actually, we should put that back out. I said we're gonna parlay each one time. We're gonna do one parlay and play it out. So it'll give it a little more longevity. Just want to try it one time this way. I'm not sure if this is gonna work for us, but maybe it should be just the naturals. 6, 4, 2, a 6. Comes down, gets paid. Back in the come we go. They're all parlayed once. The next resolution of each, they come back home. Come back home. All right, here we go. Oh, man, what a great looking toss in the air. That's a 9, 5, and a 4. If you could see these things flying, I know you can't really see them that good with that camera angle that we got there, but they are pretty. Looking really good. Here we go. Day Tripper's going live tomorrow. That's cool. Here we go. That is a 5 and a 1. That'd be a 6. That gets paid. 2. That one's done. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 units back in the rack. Let's get a 9 or a 5 here, huh? What do you think? A 9 or a 5? That'd be awesome. And no, I'm not doing the roll tracker today. Here we go. That's a 9, 5, 4. Comes down. Gets paid 2. 5. There's our $500. There's our money back in the rack. There's our paycheck. $300, right? Let's get that 5 to resolve, huh? Let's make money on the 5. What do you think? Oh, you know what I should do? I forgot. I played this one wrong. We'll do the next guy better. I played this wrong completely. I should be out here. I should be this. I should take the $100. I should have been here 10, 8, 4, and 6. I should be here. I said I was going to do that, and I didn't. I was going to play the across with the first win. I didn't do it, so my bad. I should be making money out there, and I'm not. There's a 5. 3, 2, 5. 3 and a 2. That's awesome. That's the point. That gets paid $200. I'll take that other as 100. We'll go to the 9 and the 5 with 50 change. Now I've got 550 in profit, plus I'm across. Convert those, the first come win, or the first parlayed win, I wanted to go across with it, and I forgot to. So my bad on that, I'm sorry. So I missed out on a win there somewhere, but we got back that don't getting picked off. That's cool. Coming out to a 7. First one. But we're off, so that's okay. Here we go. Oh my God. That's a hard 4. Terrible throw, though. I let him slip. Hard 4. Okay. Look at that one roll. Hit the back wall so hard. 3-1 though, which is cool. That's 50 for 1. Press it up by 1. Take back a quarter. And again, I'm not going to worry about the vig today. I'll note it, but I'm not going to be concerned with it. Here we go. Oh, how beautiful was that? My God. 6-4-10. That was such a great looking throw. Jeez. Also pays. I'm going to put the VIGs out here so I know I owe $2 in VIG so far. So we're going to flip it. I say flip it. That means replace the win with the bet. Back again to $600 in profit. Look at this. Look at this. First day with a new dice set, huh? All right, here we go. Coming out, right? That's a 6. Oh, wait, no, the points. Wait a minute, did I screw up? Hit the 4. That 10 wasn't a hit. That was setting the point. My bad. That was setting the point. Now I got a 6 for $29. I'll take the quarter as nickels, and I'll get the 6 and the 8, both to 36. Okay? Make them both a proper bet. Okay. That's an 8 hard. 8 hard. Eight hard. It pays 42. It's going to look like 60. Six. Same thing as the 8. Pays 42. It's going to look like 60. All right. I'm not used to this dice set at all. My goodness gracious. It's got to be a 3 down there and a 1 up top. Okay. Point is 10. Point is 10. That's a 5. Yeah, I put the money back. I thought I got hit a 10. I actually got paid on. I didn't get paid. I put the money back. 5 pays 35, 25, 35. Let's take it to 35. Yeah, we'll do 35 on it the first time. Actually, no, we're in profit, right? We're in profit. Let's just go to 50. We're in profit. We'll go a little bit more aggressive with it. There's a 9, 6, 3. Everything's getting hit one time. I need some repeaters here. So that'll pay 35. Looks like 50 with 10 change. I'm going to get rid of some of these quarters or these nickels here. That's $50. And some of the whites. I get rid of 5 whites. I can get rid of 10 whites. No, I'll get rid of 5. Nope, I'll get rid of all 10. 10. All right. Just making some change in the rack because my dealer rack is a little bit thin. Okay. There's a 6. That's a repeater. Finally, 5-1. That'll pay $70. Awesome sauce. We can go to, let's go to 90. We can go to 120, but I'm going to go to 90 for now. Just get a little slow roll, and then I'll go after it. One nice black chip, and then we'll go after it hard. If I catch a black chip off of the 6, then the rest of them can kind of do what they want to as well, I think. So, all right, 6, 2. Here we go. Three, ace deuce, 1, trois. Oh, God. Pardon me, I'm sorry. Starting to lose it over here. Oh, wow, what a great throw. What a great throw. 6, 5-1. All right, that's 105. That's a collect. And now we're off to the races. I got my money, right? I got my $500 locked profit. I got 100. That was my goal. I got 250. Yeah, bye-bye. We're gonna take them all to $500 now. No more collecting. It's one of those times where it's like I say this a lot, like recognize your opportunity. This might be one of those chances where we say, look, we got our 500, which is even more than our goal was. We have an extra 200 and change, 250 extra. Sayonara, right? It's time to get out of here. There's our. I'm locking that up. 750 in profit. If we happen to stay on a heater here, we're just gonna let them rip until every time though I talk shit. Every time I talk shit, I catch a 7. So that's okay. I'll take the 750. Actually, it's more than that. It's 750. I'll take it. I'll show you in a minute. It's like $800, I think, in profit. Not a bad day. From starting out with a don't and getting picked on the very first shot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 50. 75. 275. So 775. 785 today. I'll take that. First day with the new dice set. That Bone Tracker recommended, 785. Let's celebrate that. let's be super happy about that. And yeah. Nope, what happened there? Cannot find file. What? Jeez, whatever. All right, let's get back over here. All right, I gotta go. You can tell my throat's going. Sorry for coughing into your ears and all that stuff, but yeah. So you're doing full commentary while playing. Bluff is joining you. That's today. You're doing it today. You said, is that right? And where are you going to be? You're going to be at Durango. Okay, so Durango at 12:30 Pacific. So a couple, 2-3 hours from now. Good. Well, good luck, man. Hope you do well. Horseman will not work on crap list because there's no don't. Right? There's no don't pass, so you can't do it. And if you try to this direct lay a number, it's too much exposure, so you can't do it on crap lists, unfortunately. Horseman is only a regular craps play. But anyway, you see today, right? A little bit of adjustment to it, right? Like when I get my don't picked off like that, I'm going to do a don't pass and 3 come bets, right? I should go in here real quick because it's important, right? We're going to do a don't pass. Let's do the $500. It's a don't pass and 1, 2, 3 come bets. What happened in that first shooter was we set a point, right? And while I'm in the come, the point gets picked, right? Well, and so the come bet goes. Now I have two bets left, right? And what do? Well, I look at the horseman like this. Each bet has its job, right? Like the don't pass was supposed to win, it didn't, okay? The 3 come bets are now the ones that are going to do the work, right? So we're just going to switch over and do 3 come bets. I decided to go pass line instead of waiting for a point and doing a come. Same thing, right? And we just let the 3 come bets do their job. And that's what happened. So I switched off the don't in that case, right? If I had 7'd out again, I would have restarted with a new don't pass. But as it was, the 3 come bets, actually all 3 worked. They all 3 got parlayed. All the parlays hit. We used one of the parlays to go across, and I just moved out of it into a right side play. I like the options the horseman gives me. I like the way that I can kind of flip and move with, if I just stay within it, it works well. So, all right, we have to go. I got to get out of here and get some sleep. So you guys are awesome. Brain fog, understandable. Thank you, sir. And I'll see you guys in the morning. So have a good night. Tomorrow is going to be what is tomorrow? A throwdown Thursday. I got to figure out what I'm going to go against tomorrow, but we'll do two strategies, mano a mano tomorrow. So with that said, y'all have a good one, and I will see you in the next one. God bless y'all. Bye.